Torah Life Ministries come out of the world. Messiah people seek the truth.
Hello everybody, it's Paul Neeson with Torah Life Ministries, and we are reading this coming week's Torah portion. And if you're not familiar with that, that's the first 5 books of the Bible, which is the foundation of the scriptures. You know, there are a lot of people that believe in the New Testament, as they call it, which is really what it is a renewed covenant. Renewed from what? From its original glory, from the original covenant. And the best way to explain it is if you see a beautiful house and you love the house, but then you look at the foundation of the house and you say, well, that foundation is not necessary. And you take away that foundation, guess what's going to crumble? The house on top of it. So we need to understand the importance of a good foundation and the beautiful foundation of the original covenant right here in the Torah. Each year, every synagogue all over the world teaches the first 5 books of the Bible, starting in Genesis, and they go through them, and each Sabbath they read the same section or the same reading. And we are up to the 38th reading, and that is Numbers 16:1 to 18:32. So if you turn in your Bibles, Numbers 16:1 to 18:32, we start reading. We see here, we see this fellow named Korah, and he starts rebelling against Moses, as it says here in 16:2. This guy Korah rebelled against Moses. Well, we looked and we saw a couple of weeks ago when we looked in the Torah portion, there were 2 other people that rebelled against Moses as well, and it didn't turn out too well for them. But Moses interceded and saved them from the destruction and the consequences of the rebellion, because it's not really rebelling against Moses, because Moses is a chosen prophet by a wonderful Creator. So he's just a messenger. So if he's given a message that's coming directly from our Creator and people are rebelling against the message, see, it wasn't Moses they were rebelling against, it was against the message. And this was the issue. So we look at that and it says this man Korah was not only opposing Moses and having an issue with Moses and rebelling against him, but he was convincing others to them to do also. He was convincing many others, and there were 250 men that actually were on Korah's side that were rebelling against Moses as well. And they were telling Moses that he wants to do it all for himself. Basically, they were calling him selfish. And Moses, when he heard this, the most humble man you could imagine, he falls on his face. And he, just like he prayed for the people that in the past that rebelled against him, he prays for them. But these people that came up against him now, they were supposed to be the holy chosen people to be the priests, the Levi community, which Korah was a part of here. And he not only was against him, but he convinced 250 other Levites or the holy priest of our wonderful Creator to be against Moses. So Moses fell on his face. And then Moses said to him, no, it is you, the sons of Levi, who are taking too much on yourselves. So that's backbone, because they came to Moses and said, no, you're taking too much on yourself. And Moses said, no, it's you that are taking too much on yourself. And what it really comes down to is, it's not what man thinks who's taking too much on themselves. What it comes down to is what our Creator thinks. And our Creator chose Moses and Aaron for a special job. And when people try to rebel up against him, he is not happy. Just like today, he's chosen certain messages to deliver his word, but what we have is people rebelling against them. I think about Kirk Cameron, who's an actor, and he's born again, and he's teaching the word of our wonderful Creator. He's telling people that homosexuality is not natural, and it's not needed, and it's going to create chaos. Just teaching the word of our wonderful Creator, and people are rebelling against him. You know, it's just, whether it's back then or now, there's a lot of people that are giving the word of our wonderful Creator, and there are people that are going against them still. They're really rebelling against our Creator. And 2 of the men that were rebelling against Moses, that were part of these 250 men, were these 2 people. One was named Danton, and one was named Avrim. And these 2 people were against Moses, and you know, our wonderful Creator said, separate everyone, separate yourself from this assembly. I'm going to destroy them right now. And Moses said, you know, why destroy them all for the sins of just a couple of people or even for one person? So then finally our Creator answered Moses and said, tell the assembly to move away from the homes of Korach, Dantan, and Abiram. These were the three troublemakers. These were the three people that were inciting, these were the three people that were creating excitement for people to be against Moses and the message of Moses. And our Creator says, okay, Moses, I won't destroy everyone because of these three wicked men, but tell everyone to separate themselves from these three men, because what happens to them, they are in trouble. And then Moses got up and went to Datan and Abiram, and the leaders of Israel followed him. There he said to the assembly, leave the tents of these wicked men. What made them wicked? They were rebelling against Moses. They were rebelling against the instructions of our wonderful Creator. That's what made them wicked. Bottom line, they, in their own mind, I'm sure they were nice people in their own mind. You have a lot of people running around the world today in their own mind, they're nice people. But no, if you're rebelling against the message of Torah, if you're rebelling against the instructions and the guidelines of our Creator, you are considered a wicked man, no matter how nice you think you are. He says, don't even touch anything that belongs to them, or you will be swept away in their sins. So, run and flee as soon as possible from wicked people, and don't associate with these people. It says, then Dantan and Abiram came out and stood at the entrance of their tents. We're up to Numbers here. We're up to Numbers 16, 20, 27. They came out to the entrance of their tents with their wives, their sons, and their little ones. And Moses said, here is how you will know that our wonderful Creator sent me to do all the things that I have done. It's not part of my own ambition. If these men die a natural death like other people, only sharing the faith common to all humanity, because we're all going to die one day, but there's different ways people succumb to their physical death here. Then if these men died a natural death, then our wonderful Creator has not sent me, and I'm doing things of my own ambition. But if He, our Creator, does something new, if the ground opens up and swallows them with everything they own, and they go down to the pits of hell, then you will understand that these men are wicked and have created an issue. And as soon as he finished speaking, it said the earth split under them and swallowed them and their families up and everything they owned. Now, there are many signs that have been given through Moses that our Creator actually accomplished. I think this is one of the ones that probably is one of the most underlooked or under-discussed signs of all. Here somebody comes rebelling against Moses and Aaron, and he says, I'm not telling you these things I'm doing because I want to. This is what our Creator is telling me to do. And people don't like the message, and our Creator's anger. Moses says it, and it happens, where the earth opens up, doesn't just swallow up the messenger, but them and their family and everything they own, to continue with the idea of we have to do everything possible to keep the community clean and purified and get rid of every evil root that's there, so nothing can grow up out of it. And that's a wonderful example as how that happened. It says, but the very next day the whole community of the people of Israel complained against Moses and Aaron, saying, you have killed God's people. However, this community was assembling against Moses and Aaron. They looked in the direction of the tent of meeting and saw a cloud come over them, and the glory of our wonderful Creator appeared. And Moses and Aaron came to the front of the tent. And it says, our wonderful Creator said to Moses, get away from me. This whole community just saw this amazing sign of me getting rid of these wicked men, and they're calling them men of God. They're not men of God. They're wicked men that were rebelling against me. His anger was so, I'm going to destroy them all, and he started to do so. The plague had begun. 14,700 of them had already succumbed to their death because of this. But Moses prayed and said, please stop this plague. Stop destroying these people. Please. So he said, okay, I'll show these people another sign. He said to Moses, I'll stop this plague. And after 14,700 people succumb to their consequences of rebelling against the word of our wonderful Creator, he tells him to take the staff from all the leaders of all the tribes of Israel. And then Aaron's staff was one of those staffs. To show and to write their names on those staffs, to show them who is in charge here. And he says the person in charge, their staff will sprout. Now, if you don't know what a sprout is, I'm a health teacher. If you soak some lentils, they grow little sprouts, so little tiny sprouts. Well, not only did Aaron's staff was the one that sprouted, but it says here, flowers and ripe almonds as well as sprouts appeared on the staff. I mean, how much of a sign do people need? How much of a sign? And then he talks about, we go on in Numbers in the last part of Numbers 17. He talks about return Aaron's staff to the place in front of the altar as a testimonial. So it's a sign against anyone who's rebelling against me and anyone who wants to grumble against me. And this sign will keep them so they won't die. You know, Ezekiel 33:11 says, I take no pleasure in the death of wicked people. I only want them to change from their wicked ways so they will live. And here it says, that Aaron's staff, the staff with the sprouts and the flowers, and should be placed as a sign. So anyone grumbling against me will see that, and they will change their ideas, and they will not die. So you have to understand, he gives the instructions. He gives us the guidelines, and he tells us what to do. But if you want to go against his word, you are going to suffer. Somebody just said to me recently, they said, we can tell if somebody's saved by the commandments. And somebody else said, we're not saved by the commandments. And he said, yes, but if you are saved, how do you know? Well, we've accepted Yeshua in our hearts. Well, how do you know you accepted Yeshua in your heart? You're going to want to follow the commandments. If you've accepted him and you don't have a desire to follow the commandments or rebel against them, you got to question where you think your heart is. And that's what's happening so many times, because Moses was just giving him the instruction of a wonderful creator. It says here in the end of this week's reading in Numbers 17:22, from now on the people of Israel are not to appear at the tent of meeting, so they will not bear the consequences of their sin and die. Only the Levites, the priests, will perform the service at the tent of the meeting. But it says, bear the consequences of their sin and they will die. We're all going to die a natural death here, but if you want eternal life and you accept Yeshua as Messiah, you follow his word, but you don't rebel against it. But it says here, the consequences of sin is a premature death. The consequence of sin is dying a death that you don't necessarily have to. The way you're dying. And that was the instructions here. What type of person are you? Are you a type of person that rebels against our wonderful Creator and his messengers? Or are you a person that has a desire to follow and glorify our Creator and follow his instructions and keep them? It says in the scriptures, keep every single word. Keep the commands. And yes, we might be pursuing and trying to do so. Maybe we haven't succeeded, but our heart has to want to do it. And that's what he's looking at, our heart. But if our heart says, well, we don't have to do that, I'm a good person and I can do whatever I want and I don't have to follow any instructions and guidelines of the Bible, well, that's the word of our wonderful Creator, and the consequence of sin, we saw the example. So do you want the earth to swallow you up and everything you own, or do you want to be blessed and live a good long life of peace and shalom? All right, if you have any comments or questions, post them below the video. I do the Torah portion each week here, and you can see the previous ones on my website at healthwatchman.com. Thank you very much, and shalom, shalom.
Torah Life Ministries come out of the world. Messiah people seek the truth.